the president wants to see more positivity, more patriotism. We live in the greatest country in the world, and our Smithsonian Institution, which is really the foundation of our education system as a whole, should reflect American exceptionalism.
When dealing with the Republican effort to rewrite our history, it's not just a whitewashing of our history or of ignoring the bad parts of our history. It's a rewriting that they want to do. That's why Donald Trump is going gangbusters right now to silence the Smithsonian Institute, the litany of museums that span Washington, D.C. Donald Trump is trying to control how history is displayed, what history is displayed. I've talked at length about how they've erased or they've curtailed how they even talk about the impeachment process in the United States, taking out any exhibits that talk about Donald Trump's impeachment, trying to act like only 3 presidents have seriously faced removal, and those being Bill Clinton, Andrew Johnson, and Richard Nixon, who actually wasn't even impeached. He resigned before he was able to be impeached. This is what they want to do. Donald Trump is putting up roadblocks and punishing people who work for the African American Black History and Culture Museum in Washington, D.C., sending back artifacts that were on loan to their owners, like, we don't need this anymore. It's an attempt to alter the manner with which we think about and talk about and teach our children and younger generations about the history of the United States, both the good parts of our history and the bad parts of our history. Because if you're not dealing with, if you're not confronting the whole picture, we will be doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. And Newsmax had, what's her name? Lindsey Halligan. She's the new young girl that Donald Trump has attraction to. So he puts her front and center, even though she's intellectually incapable of actually working through the things that she's talking about at length. And she was on Newsmax just the other day where they're talking about these initiatives to curtail which exhibits get put on display. And they have to be based on, and they're going to be curated based on what's in Donald Trump's brain. The man who hasn't read a book since maybe junior high. Donald Trump hasn't read a book since the 1950s, yet you need to listen to him about what history is and is not, and what history is and is not important. It's a nightmare scenario, right? So I'm going to play this clip. It's a little over 2 minutes. Let's watch it and we'll talk about it on the other side.
This initiative aims to ensure alignment with the president's directive to celebrate American exceptionals, remove divisive or partisan narratives, and restore confidence in our shared cultural institutions. It goes on to say, quote, "Our goal is not to interfere with the day-to-day operations of curators and staff, but rather to support a broader vision of excellence that highlights historically accurate, uplifting, and inclusive portrayals of America's heritage," end quote. Can you expand on that and really what many can see? Look, many people love going to D.C., going to the Smithsonian or learning about it, in grade school and what really is in there. Can you expand on what the president wants to see inside the Smithsonian and ultimately others as well?
Of course, yeah. So the president wants to see more positivity, more patriotism. We live in the greatest country in the world, and our Smithsonian Institution, which is really the foundation of our education system as a whole and is over 70% funded by taxpayers, should reflect American exceptionalism. And a good example, a lot of the placards that I've seen when I've gone through the various museums, almost every single placard next to an artifact pushes an ideological or political narrative. A good example is in the American History Museum. There's a Change Your Game exhibit, which features the biological male Leah Thomas, who has been competing against women in swimming. And it asks visitors if gender testing is fair, and it suggests that gender testing is discriminatory and humiliating to those who are challenging gender norms. And I think instead of that, when over 80%, well over 80% of Americans believe that biological males should not be competing in women's sports, I think the Smithsonian Institution, which is over 70% funded by taxpayers, as I said previously, should really take note of that. And I think it should reflect the values of the American people instead of pushing ideology that Americans overwhelmingly do not support. And I think, I guess, 98% of the population should not be forced to accommodate or adjust their morals to make less than 2% of the population comfortable.
Obviously, I haven't seen that exhibit that you mentioned here. It's been years since I visited the Smithsonian, but you think about just being accurate, right?
First, let me address something that the dipshit at the front said, the Newsmax moron. The initiative aims to ensure alignment with the president's directive to celebrate American exceptionalism, remove divisive or partisan narratives, and restore confidence in our shared cultural institutions. How can we celebrate we'll just put it this way, how can we be exceptional? How can America be exceptional if we're too weak and cowardly and wicked to look at critically our past, to understand and teach the immoral practices, the unethical practices, the murderous practices that we, under color of law, have put upon and otherized cultures, different people of just a different skin tone, the things we've done. How can we be exceptional if we can't face that? That's weakness, is it not? And to her answer, our Smithsonian, now listen, bring yourself back, take yourself back to elementary school or junior high or high school for that matter. And if someone was to ask you before you watch this video, hey, what was the foundation of your education system? Would you have said, oh, most certainly the Smithsonian? Do you believe that she believes the thing that she said? Or did she just go into a free association and start saying things? Because that's what it seems like to me. Who thinks that the Smithsonian Institution, which is really the foundation of our education system as a whole, and then rambles about how it's funded? That 70% of their budget comes from the federal government and taxpayers. And by virtue of that, they should teach an incorrect version of history, a white supremacist version of history, an evil, immoral, wicked, I'll use the term again, version of history. Because if you're not looking down with a straight and clear-eyed view of what we have done in this country that is immoral and wrong, but also some good. There's good and bad in every civilization, in every society, with every leader. Maybe not every leader. Maybe Donald Trump doesn't have a lot of good. The best part about Donald Trump's administration thus far is the fact that he probably won't see the end of this term. That he's likely too frail, too feeble, too unhealthy, based on the fact that no man can survive with Big Mac sauce's blood. Anyway, I don't know where he finds these people, some kind of a model catalog or something. I think he actually might have a time machine because she's got that whole 80s thing going on, which is probably what he's really attracted to. So Lindsey Halligan, good for you. Your 15 minutes it's coming to a close. What do you think out there? I would appreciate your feedback here. You can comment below this video. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me the old-fashioned way back from the just after the 80s, Lindsey Halligan. Email. You can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. Wherever you watch this video, there is a way to give. You can help produce this work through Patreon, patreon.com/IDoubtAPodcast, or you can click below the video on YouTube. $2 a month, become a channel member. Click the join button. Saturday, you'd think I'd be better at this, but I am not. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. From Idaho, be genuine and take care of one another.